Joe's Inner Child Podcast.
You talked about KOTOR a couple of times, Knights of the Old Republic. I think that was the first Star Wars game you were involved in, but you have been involved with like Lego Star Wars and one of my personal favorites, Force Unleashed games. So can you kind of tell me about which of those game universes you were most comfortable with or you liked the best? Because it's kind of like you said, they're all a little bit different. And, you know, kids might like the Lego one, or somebody with something more serious might like the Force Unleashed one, so on and so forth. And there's certain, you know, hardcore gamers that'll be into KOTOR.
Right.
But as far as you coming from your perspective and how you experienced it, is there one of those genres, video games or Star Wars type genres that you prefer to work in?
I think that KOTOR will always be my favorite of the games. I love the Old Republic too, and I do hope there's going to be more vet content, and that's fun to keep expanding deeper and deeper into that universe. But the narrative of KOTOR, which was, it was, you know, kind of new at the time. And that was my first game, but it was also, again, I didn't really play a lot of video games at the time. And so I didn't understand that there was all this narrative and there was this backstory. And I will say to this day that in certain video games, as an actor, you have more character development, more of a character arc. You get to do more different things than you could ever imagine. You know, even if you take something like The Walking Dead or a film, you're there and you get to tell this amount of the story in this amount of time. But in video games, it's this whole expanse sometimes. And it really is like doing just this amazing, deep, long play. And when the writing is good, like I think it is in Knights of the Old Republic, it's amazing, and it's an art form. And you know, to this day, I know that has to be true because people were touched by the story of Mission and Zalbar, her Wookiee, and people will still say, like, you know, if they killed Mission, which took you to the dark side, like it's the worst thing you could do. There are people who are like still guilt-ridden over that. And like, I think that's so cool. So.
And so you mentioned, I'm glad that you mentioned the intricacies of like plot advancement, character development in video games, and like the expanse of that world. I'm sure you do a lot more voice recording for that too. But I guess my question about that is, that's a segue back to Penelo, your dog.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that role was something that was really important to you. So can you talk to me a little bit about the playing Penelo?
Playing Penelo?
Playing Penelo in Final Fantasy XII?
Yeah, so that was another character that she touched my heart and she stayed with me. Again, I like characters like Penelo, and I've played a lot of characters like Penelo. And in fact, you know, in some ways, Padme could go that way in some people's eyes. Characters that are good can sometimes quickly fall into annoying. And everyone thinks, oh, yeah, the bad character, like that's the cool one. So I've, you know, originally when I first started, I think like everyone else, I was probably like, I want to play the bad character because they're cool and they wear like a black leather jacket. But I've since realized how important it is to have good and light in the world and in storytelling. And I'm honored to get to play those characters. And so Penelo was one of those characters who could have easily just been like, I'm annoying and I have pigtails. But she's not. And she meant a lot to me. And yeah, I was playing her when I was first fostering my dog that is now my dog. She wasn't even my dog at the time. But so then when she came back and she was a foster fail, you know, thankfully, and she has these, you know, little Jack Russell ears, and Penelo was just the perfect name.
Literary Joe's Inner Child Podcast.